don't live for everything, but never nothing. I gotta have your last name, baby. Ring on it, fire burning constant, either day or night.
What's good, YouTube? It's your girl. I'm still Asia, baby. Cause every time I close my eyes, I see you. Welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. If you are new here, hello, and welcome. Be sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from your girl, okay? As y'all can see from the thumbnail today, y'all, I got a calling for MrBallen.
Ballin'.
Okay, I'm gonna stop with his name, y'all, okay? I don't even know where I got that from. It's so lame. But anyway, today, y'all, I am doing This Man Was the Nazis' Worst Nightmare, Historical Legends Part 1. Y'all, I used to read so many books about the Holocaust, like Nazis and stuff like that. Like, I just was really interested about that kind of stuff when I was in school, just because of like everything that transpired. It's just unbelievable. Even to this day, I still can't even believe that that shit happened. But I don't know what to expect with this. This was actually a suggestion from one of my loyal supporters. So thank you so much for suggesting this video. So I'm gonna check it out and see what it's about. I was interested as soon as I seen the title of it, so I don't know what to expect. But without further ado, get your popcorn ready and let's go on and get into this video, y'all. Let's do this.
If you Google the most incredible story of all time, this story that I'm going to tell you today pops up all over the internet. And after reading through it, I can totally understand why. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right channel, because that's all we do, and we upload 3, 4, even 5 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please offer the like button a bag of Rebels, but only leave them the coffee-flavored kind. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story. The United States formally entered World War II on December 8, 1941, after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. At the time, Joseph Byerly was a senior at his high school in Muskegon, Michigan, and he had a scholarship to attend Notre Dame University the next year. But after his graduation in 1942, he decided he didn't want to go to college so long as other kids his age were going off to fight the war. And so he enlisted in the Army, and he immediately volunteered for one of the most dangerous units, the parachute infantry. Joseph completed a brutal, accelerated training regimen that included exhausting PT in blistering heat, extended forced marches, grueling full-kit runs up mountains, as well as both American and British jump schools. By 1943, Joseph was fully trained and stationed in England and was eager to put his training to the test. But the Allied invasion of Nazi-occupied France, also known as D-Day, was still a few months away. But Joseph didn't want to wait that long, so he volunteered for an incredibly dangerous mission that the OSS was recruiting paratroopers for. The OSS was the predecessor to the CIA. Basically, volunteers would parachute in the middle of the night into Nazi-occupied France with a backpack full of gold. Once they hit the ground, they'd meet up with the French resistance and give the gold to them, and then the resistance would do their best to protect these volunteer paratroopers and hopefully give them a ride back out to England. But by no means was it a guarantee, because many of these volunteers were killed in the process. This was some hardcore, deep cover spy work that the OSS would tell their volunteers: if you get caught on this mission, you're gonna get tortured and you're gonna get executed. Joseph would successfully complete this insane mission, and then he liked it so much, he did it again. Shortly after his second...
Oh, no. Okay, one time is all I need. Okay, I just need my little hero badge, and I'm gonna be on my... and I'm gonna be on my way. Okay, go and give me my little hero badge for the crazy person mission. Okay. Nope, y'all. Okay. One time is all it needs, especially if you done told me I'm gonna be tortured and executed. Y'all gonna have to come find me from some damn mission like that. I ain't volunteering for that. I mean, y'all. Okay, let me stop. I'm too scary. I'm not that type. Cause somebody captured me, I feel like I'm just like, y'all, I'm gonna tell everything as long as it's gonna keep me alive. I'm just playing, y'all. When you swear into the military, that's actually one thing that you cannot absolutely do, okay? Because you swear into that, okay? Specifically, almost in those exact words, okay? If you ever get captured and you be in some type of situation like that, the last thing that you are supposed to do is to give up any information about, you know what I'm saying, the people that you there with, where you came from, who you with, where you at, where they at, type stuff, okay? Like, just, you know, FYI, if anybody didn't know that.
Complete this insane mission, and then he liked it so much he did it again. Shortly after his second successful OSS mission, word came down that D-Day was set to take place on June 6th. Joseph's unit was told they were going to be parachuted into France the night before in order to destroy bridges, cut power supply lines, and generally soften up defenses before the main invasion happened just a couple of hours later at Utah Beach. So in the dead of night on June 5th, Joseph and his unit were flying over France when they were struck by enemy fire. And so as their plane is literally falling to the ground, Joseph leaps out the door when he's only 400 feet off the ground, and he manages to survive the jump. His parachute inflated just in time, but he landed on top of a church where a Nazi sniper was up in the steeple taking shots at all of the other paratroopers. And when the sniper saw Joseph on the roof, he began taking shots at him, and Joseph managed to dodge the rounds before slipping off the roof and running out of sight. Once on the ground, he slammed a mag into his M1 carbine and then began a one-man mission so incredible that there is a plaque inside of the church he landed on that looks like this. Completely alone, with no idea where the rest of his unit was, Joseph took off running from the church and once again had to dodge more sniper fire, and he eventually made it to the town's power substation, which he blew up with thermite. So he cut the power to the town, and from there he went building to building to building, killing every Nazi he came across, including an entire squad of Nazi infantry that he ambushed with grenades. At some point, Joseph made his way over to one of the bridges leading into this town that if he blew up, it would prevent Nazis from sending reinforcements to Utah Beach. But as he crawled through one of the hedgerows, he fell headfirst into a Nazi machine gun nest, and when he turned around, there were a bunch of machine guns pointed at his face, and so he surrendered. Joseph was marched deeper into France to a POW holding area, and as soon as he got there, explosions ripped out all around him. It wasn't clear if it was German artillery or American aircraft, but whatever it was killing both Germans and American POWs. Joseph took shrapnel to the leg and was blown into a ditch, and despite being in excruciating pain, he took this as an opportunity to escape. And so he got up and ran away as best as he could with his injury, and for 12 hours he remained uncaught behind enemy lines before he was ultimately caught again. This time they put Joseph in the back of a covered locked truck to keep him from escaping, and they decided they would send him to St. Lo and decide what to do with him there. But on their transit to St. Lo, an Allied aircraft strafed the vehicle that Joseph was in, and Joseph survived the attack and was able to leap out of one of the holes in the side of the truck from this attack, and he attempted to escape. But once again, he was caught. The Nazis finally got Joseph.
Oh my gosh, y'all, what are the freaking odds? You get caught 3 times. Y'all, they was freaking everywhere. Like, Joseph. Okay, it is meant for you to escape. Like, what is happening?
From this attack, and he attempted to escape, but once again he was caught. The Nazis finally got Joseph to St. Lo, and as soon as they got there, the Americans launched an all-night bombing campaign on the city. But once again, Joseph narrowly survives. A recurring theme of Joseph's story is that he is repeatedly almost killed by his own teammates. For the next few days, Joseph was interrogated 20 to 24 hours a day, but he didn't give them any information, and he repeatedly called them sons of bitches until they got so fed up with him, they just beat him to a pulp, and he was knocked unconscious and kept in the hospital for several days. For the next 3 months, Joseph was starved, beaten, interrogated some more, and moved to multiple POW camps. He'd be forced to do back-breaking labor all day. At night, he would survive Allied bombing runs, and he would constantly weather hunger, disease, and exhaustion. At one point, he was locked inside of this boxcar with 50 other guys. He could barely move inside of it, and once again, it was strafed by Allied planes, and he was one of the very few people to survive that. In September of 1944, Joseph was moved to a Russian POW camp in Poland that held about 12,000 Russian men and women POWs. And as soon as he got there, he immediately began planning his escape. 2 months later, on a freezing night in November, Joseph, along with 3 other American POWs, managed to cut the barbed wire and snuck out of the camp and began making their escape south. They snuck into a railway station and hopped on a train car they believed was headed for Poland. Their plan was to meet up with the Soviet Red Army as it pushed through the region. But unfortunately, they got on the wrong train and they wound up in Berlin, the capital of Nazi Germany. One thing you don't hear much about when it comes to World War II is there was actually a large number of Germans that hated Hitler and totally disagreed with the Nazis. And so they organized a German underground resistance that was designed to help the Allies during the war. And so when Joseph and the other 3 American POWs arrived in Berlin, still wearing their POW uniforms, a member of the German resistance saw them and immediately grabbed them and brought them into hiding. But after only a week, the infamous Nazi secret police, aka the Gestapo, discovered them and arrested them. Over the next 10 days, Joseph and the other American POWs got to see firsthand just how awful the Gestapo really were. They were constantly interrogated while they were beaten, kicked, walked on, strung up by their arms backwards. They were hit with whips, clubs, and rifle butts until they drifted into unconsciousness. And then as soon as they started to come to, it would start all over again. After those...
like that stuff was just brutal. It was brutal. It's almost like the stuff that I've like read. I'm not gonna go in detail in this video. Like if you wanna read about it, it's freaking everywhere. You can get books, you can go online, you can find articles, you can read like stories from survivors that are on YouTube. Like there's so many stories you can find and get information on in regards to this stuff. But when I tell y'all, like, this probably like is one of the hardest things that I've ever read. And I feel like part of it was like, you know, fascinating to think that there were people that were just this evil to want to do something to, you know, the human race, mankind, like for power, you know what I mean? And it's just like, y'all, it's so like it blows my mind how awful it just reeks tragedy. It's just an awful event. Like it's hard to read about, it's hard to watch, it's hard, like, oh gosh, y'all. And even just hearing him tell this story, it's just like, y'all, nothing good. There was no good that came out of that situation. Nothing.
Into unconsciousness. And then as soon as they started to come to, it would start all over again. After those 10 days, the Gestapo turned Joseph and the other 3 American POWs over to the German army, who put them in the brutal prison camp called the Stalag Luft III. Upon arrival, Joseph was immediately sentenced to 30 days inside of a 4 by 5 foot pine box that was too small to stand up or lay down in. Fortunately for him, he only had to endure 7 days because a Red Cross operative from Geneva intervened on his behalf. It would take months for Joseph to get his strength back after being inside of this box, but as soon as he did, he began plotting his next escape. One night, Joseph, along with his 3 American POW buddies, managed to break through a prison wall and made a mad dash for freedom, but the Nazi prison guards saw it and opened fire on them. All 3 of Joseph's friends were killed as they ran, but Joseph got away, only to hear the faint barking of the German shepherds the Nazis had sent to hunt him down. So in the freezing cold of Poland in January, Joseph leapt headfirst into a partially frozen river and swam over 2 miles down it before getting out and running blindly into the woods. Somehow, miraculously, he managed to reach Soviet lines before he froze to death. And there, he spoke with battalion commander Alexandra Samosenko, a woman who holds the distinction of being the only female tank commander in all of World War II. Even though Joseph spoke very little Russian, he convinced her to let him join her unit. And so she gave him a gun and some ammunition, and she told him what their next objective was. They were going to liberate the same POW camp he had just escaped from. And so Joseph, alongside the Soviet Red Army that he now fought for, turn around and go smash this POW camp. And after the dust had settled, Joseph raided the main camp office and stole his defiant official POW photo that the Germans had taken of him on the first day he got captured. Joseph continued to fight alongside the Soviets across the Eastern Front for a couple of months, but when a German dive bomber blew up the tank that Joseph was riding on, he was evacuated to a Russian field hospital. There, he received a visit from Georgy Zhukov, the most important Soviet military commander in World War II, who was intrigued by the only non-Soviet in the hospital. He sat with Joseph and learned his story through an interpreter, and then afterwards he provided Joseph with official paperwork that would allow him to rejoin American forces. And so in February of 1945, Joseph was sent to the US Embassy in Moscow, but unfortunately, when he finally met a friendly American face, after nearly a year of fighting behind enemy lines, they didn't believe his story. They told him that Joseph R. Byerly had been killed in action on June 10th, 1944, and that they had already had a funeral mass in his honor in Muskegon, and that his obituary had already been printed in the paper. But despite Joseph painstakingly going through his story over and over again, the ambassador just could not believe what he was hearing. And so, worried Joseph might actually be a well-trained German spy, the ambassador sent him to Odessa to have his credentials verified. But Odessa had the same problem and couldn't verify him, so they sent him to Egypt. Egypt had the same problem, and they too could not verify his credentials. And so they sent him to Italy, where they finally used fingerprints, and they confirmed that yes, this is in fact Joseph R. Byerly. And so on April 11th, 1945, Joseph returned home, and needless to say, his parents were very surprised to see him because they were convinced he died 10 months earlier. 1 year later, Joseph would actually get married in the same church that held his funeral mass when everybody believed he was dead. Joseph was given the Purple Heart, and then in the 1990s was given additional presidential awards from US President Bill Clinton as well as the Russian President Boris Yeltsin. Joseph was also given a custom-made AK-47 from the guy who invented the AK-47. Joseph died in 2004 at the age of 81, and his son would go on to become the US ambassador to Russia under George W. Bush and Barack Obama. So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments what it is and where you found it, so give us the timestamp. And if you're the first to do that, we'll pin you at the top of the comments section. If you enjoyed today's video and you haven't done this already, please offer the like button a bag of Revels, but only leave the coffee-flavored kind. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 3, 4, even 5 video uploads.
Y'all, who would have ever thought, like, I mean, if he had been missing for that long, my whole philosophy behind that would be that, you know, you missing in action. But what's crazy is that, y'all, that's crazy that he went through all of that many times, like he escaped like that many times and got caught and then brought back to the camp. Like, then he had to go back to the camp to fight the camp that actually had him like captured to over, like, y'all, ooh, that's a story for your behind. Like, that just goes to show you, man, there are real people, there are really, like, you know, real angels out there that are here to fight for us, fight for our cause, y'all. Like, he went through it. And then what's crazy is that he was able to convince the lady to let him be on his team to fight, basically to keep himself alive. Like, shoot, just go and put me on your team. Like, I'll fight for y'all. Like, if you need me, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Until, you know, he moves on and goes somewhere else, and then he goes back to America, and then they don't even believe that he's really alive. Like, wow. I mean, with good reason, though. I mean, I feel like his story is definitely compelling, but it's to me, I mean, it's unbelievable as it sounds. It still sounds believable because it was about survival, okay? He was trying to survive at the end of the day and get back to where he came from. And it took him that long to do that, y'all. I don't know if I would have been able to do that if I would have had the will, just because of everything that he already had endured and everything that he already encountered and overcame. Like, that's just hard to do. Like, and then stay, like, faithful to it, you know what I'm saying? So you know, hey, I commend him. Joseph, you are the real MVP, sir, and he deserves everything that he got for that. And considering everything that he had been through, y'all, I just feel like it takes a strong person to be able to do stuff like that and have that, hold that willpower and strength and just courage and heroism, okay? Just to say the least. Like, dang, man. Wow. I mean, and the best part of it is that he lived to be 81. So he definitely deserved all the honorable mentions that he got, y'all. Like, no doubt. No question. No question. That's crazy. Whew. Nazis, y'all, they was not the ones to be playing with back then, y'all. Not the one. I would not have made it. I wouldn't have made it. I would have been too slow. I would have been one of the friends that probably, you know what I mean? Like, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. This is crazy. MrBallen be coming through with these stories though, y'all. So if y'all enjoyed this video, be sure you give me a big thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from your girl. And if ain't nobody told you, I love you. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next video, y'all. Bye, y'all.